My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora. and I'm planning to major in geology at the College of Charleston.
Good job.
Government officials insist that this...
That BNC Live has been following from the beginning. A father continues his mission to find out what happened to his son.
Daniel Robinson vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
Daniel Robinson went missing in the Buckeye Desert.
Urgent plea from a father who has scoured the vast Arizona desert himself.
4-year-old Daniel Robinson. And this is a very, very odd mystery.
Daniel Robinson disappeared on June 23rd in the far West Valley.
His parents, David and Melissa, need our help.
I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson.
His name, Daniel Robinson. And leading the search, not law enforcement, but Daniel's father, David.
God knows how much we can bear, you know, and at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
Where is Daniel Robinson?
And, identify they were human leg bones.
But you know what, it's still urgent to me as a father because, you know, we found human remains out here.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. I also want to thank the volunteers that come out here every weekend, volunteering their time. And, you know, without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search.
How does a young man vanish off the face of the earth? How does that happen? No record, no sightings, nothing. He's just gone. And when I say a young man, I'm talking about 25-year-old Daniel Robinson. He is the apple of his parents' eye. A young geologist, music lover, good looking, great grades, the works. So why can't we find Daniel? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. And his dad, David Robinson, is using the GoFundMe money to fund his own investigation and the desperate search for his boy, his son, Daniel Robinson, 25 years old. What happened to him? How did he just disappear? David Robinson, sir, thank you so much for being with us. Tell me when you first realized your son just hadn't called in a couple of days, that he was truly missing.
Yes, my son, on the 23rd, I did get a call from my daughter. She also lives out in Phoenix. And at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
But in his weakest times, David says it's the volunteers that provide him strength.
You know, everybody knows that I call them my extended family. And so this visual is the same thing. We all here have one common goal, and that's to find Daniel and also to bring light, what happened to other families.
As the Robinsons' extended family light candles tonight, their collective light shines towards that day when their question is answered and Daniel comes home. Josh Sanders, 12 News.
You are my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink, and now I trust your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice. I'm not afraid. Walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still searching for him. Thank you guys for coming in this evening's Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son Daniel, a graduate of the College of Charleston from South Carolina, came out to Arizona to start his career, to expand his horizon. He came straight out of college and found a job at Matrix New World here in Phoenix, also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater, where he was hired on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. My son's job is to go out to various well sites that he's assigned to every time he go out on a daily basis, except for, of course, on the weekends. He go out to these areas to assess wells, to check the viability of those wells. As you know, those wells here in Arizona, anytime there's community that is being built, that community have to have these wells, and those wells have to produce at least 100 years of water. My son's job, a geologist, he's a scientist. His job is to determine if those wells can indeed produce that amount of water, as well as get the viability of those wells, checking the wells for the rock sediments that's coming out of those wells. So again, my son, geologist Daniel Robinson, a worker for Southwest Matrix Southwest Groundwater, also called Matrix New World. He was out there on June the 23rd. He had got 2 assignments that morning. He went to one well site at roughly around 7 o'clock that morning. After completing that well, he did call a worker from a company called Weber. That worker, according to that worker, that's where the narrative started. That worker said my son did contact him, got directions how to get to that location. He met my son out on Sun Valley Parkway, outside of north of the Cactus Road Junction area. They talked for a brief moment once my son got into that location, got in the vehicle, had a conversation. My son then, from that point, followed him into that desert. They went 1 mile 1 mile west into that desert, and then had to go 2 miles north to get to this well site. Once arriving to this well site, according to this worker, my son and he and my son had a conversation of roughly about 10 minutes. In that conversation, this worker was checking my son to see if his eyes were dilated, to checking his mannerism, to certain little things that he felt he needed to check, as well as my son, according to his worker, was asking him to telling him he wanted to close the well site down for the day because there's a possible rain, according to this worker, and that he decided that he wanted to stay because he think it wasn't a significant rain. It's going to pass through really quickly. And my son then somehow waved off to him, got in his vehicle, and drove off to never be seen again to this date. My son vehicle showed up almost 30 days later in this ravine right here behind me. It's a 20-foot ravine, look kind of flat on the picture, but it's a 20-foot ravine with his clothing, allegedly his clothing. We don't have any forensics work to say that it's my son's clothing, something that me and my family didn't identify. But this clothing that was on the ground 3 to 4 feet away from my son's vehicle was found. The assumption is it was my son's clothing. The pants contained my son's wallet, according to the Buckeye Police Department, as well as his cell phone that we've been calling as a family for over almost a full day, a little over a full day, was found inside the vehicle, and also his work laptop and some other personal effects. So again, you guys can always imagine, as a family, it's been a very difficult role for us, just even realizing that Daniel was missing. My first indication was when my daughter called me and said one of the coworkers from Daniel's job. When I say coworkers, I don't want to get confused with the guy at the well. That is not Daniel's coworker. I just call him the guy at the well. He's the worker at the well. But Daniel's coworker, direct coworker from Matrix New World, came out to his sister's house. She told me that he came there and seeing if Daniel was there. Of course, she thought that was strange. She didn't know this guy, know where she lived. But he explained he'd been there before with Daniel, and that's where he remembered where she lived. And then, of course, she called me in South Carolina, told me what was going on. The first indication for me was that we need to go check and see if he's indeed at his apartment or not. Had my daughter to go do that, as well as call his cell phone. I've been doing that as well, trying to get in contact with anybody who may have heard something, because it wasn't that urgent just yet, until I realized that it was over 6 hours that Daniel was last heard from, when I started inquiring on his job. So I called the job and they said, hey, the last time he's been seen was roughly around 9 o'clock that morning at the well site. And from that point, I knew something was wrong, because Daniel would not go that many hours without alerting his family of his plans, travel plans. First of all, the other part is he wouldn't have came to work if he would just not leave his job to go travel or do anything like that, as well as, like I said, he wouldn't answer the cell phone. So we had some indications there that made me very suspicious. I did get a report back from my daughter saying that his vehicle wasn't there. So one of the next steps for me was to call the Tempe Police Department to see if they could do a welfare check. I did that at first. They told me they couldn't do that. They asked me where he was last seen. I told them that according to his job, there was an area called the White Tank Mountains. At the time, I never even heard of a Sun Valley Parkway or Cactus Road. Nobody ever mentioned that to me. But it was an area called the White Tank Mountains. Of course, the Tempe Police Department told me that is Buckeye's jurisdiction area where he's reportedly last seen, and from the information I have gotten. And so, therefore, I had to call the Buckeye Police Department to ask them to do this welfare check. So I was unable to get them to do that as well, the Buckeye Police Department, but I was able to get in contact with them. They told me I had to wait an additional 3 hours because they have a 12-hour report time where you can report someone missing. And so I had to wait. Of course, I had to do a little bit of waiting around the house, but I was also doing some more of my research to try to find out what's going on with my son, what possibly could be going on. And in the meantime, so once I got able to call back to the Buckeye Police Department, and I was able to put that report in, I did talk to Officer Cruz, who was assigned to go out and help me. So one of the things that Officer Cruz did on day one was he told me himself he's going to go out into the area where Daniel was last seen. The White Tank Mountains area. He told me that's when I first heard of the road called Sun Valley Parkway. He said he's going to ride up and down Sun Valley Parkway to see if Daniel was out there and was maybe stuck on the side of the road and things like that. I was very relieved to hear that. Of course, upon more my investigation, I did talk to the coworkers, his job, and they said, hey, look, he was not only just missing the area, he's missing it out in the desert itself. I did relay that to the officer crews to have them to go out into the desert to search my son. When I say search, I mean either helicopters or whatever it takes. It was at night by this time. He had explained to me that he couldn't have the helicopter go out because it is night, and they probably would have to do it in the morning. They would definitely have a helicopter out there. So, of course, no sleep for me. You know, me and my family, we had to go out and wait those hours out. The next morning, I did get a call back from Officer Haley, who told me that I believe his last name was Haley, but gave me a call and told me that yes, they're going to have a Firebird to go out. I mean, a helicopter to go out and search for Daniel. And I was very relieved. I was very relieved to hear that. But yet he ended up calling me back almost about an hour later, and told me that the flight was canceled. It's unauthorized, it's being canceled, been scrubbed because it is unauthorized. Because his higher ups unauthorized it because they said Daniel's a grown man. If he want to disappear on his own, he can. So once I heard that, the assumptions that the Buckeye Police Department came up with and decided not to go search for my son, though I told them my son was not from Arizona. That was his first time when I heard from his job out in that area. He's not familiar with that area. And some other things I wanted to discuss with them, they're reluctant to go look for him. So, of course, that prompted me, you guys, if Buckeye told me at the beginning, if they would have took a helicopter out there like they should have, and they still said they couldn't find Daniel, I still was coming out to Arizona. I don't think any parent would have not go out to see about their child, their loved one. But I still would have came out to Arizona, but I ended up moving a lot faster when I realized that the Buckeye Police Department wasn't going to search for my son. So, of course, I made my way here in Arizona, got here June 26th. I've been fighting and searching for my son ever since. Doing everything I can. I haven't known anybody other than my daughter, who's already living here at Phoenix at the time. It was just her and Daniel out here in Phoenix. And she and I would go around to the airports, to everywhere. We're going to NAACP, try to find anybody we can, the Red Cross, anybody we can get any kind of help from. And also working with the Buckeye Police Department to try to do everything we can to find my son. And of course, like I said, not knowing anybody, not knowing the steps. But when I used to go out to Sun Valley Parkway almost every day, and I go out there with my binoculars and I stand on the side of that road and with my binoculars, wishing I can get in that desert, wishing I could see my son from that road out there in the desert. That became too much. It became too much for me because the only thing that kept me from getting to my son was that desert itself. I am a veteran. I'm a veteran from the Army. And also I've been to Afghanistan twice on my two tours there. And I know I'm very familiarized with desert terrains. And one of the things I know you cannot do is play around with the desert. And I was being advised also by the Buckeye Police Department not to go out there because I was about to go out there on my own in my vehicle. They did tell me the terrain was very rugged. I thought it would be more from looking at the road with the binoculars. I thought it was a lot smoother. And, that terrain was rough from what I heard. So I did take the advisement and didn't go out there, but that was stopping me there. I was definitely planning and putting things together. I started doing some research about that desert, started finding out what washes were, what was some of the other desert terrain hazards out there from the mines and things that's out there, as well as the wildlife and stuff. I also did a lot of researching as well, reaching out to the community of Buckeye, trying to find someone who's familiar with that terrain out there, who live out in that area and know about the desert. So I was able to do that, put it together with all my hard work, trying to put together. I never organized anything in my life, but I was able to do so and started getting the search put together. And I've been doing searches, like I said, over 40-some weeks of searches for my son. The first part of my searches was a rescue mission. As you can imagine, when you first get out there, my mind telling me Daniel's stuck somewhere in his vehicle, he's hurt, or anything can happen. He don't know where he is. He's lost, or whatever the case may be. So my job was to go out there and find him. And so I'm really grateful for the volunteers and the people who came out to those soldiers that heard the call. I even had one person from South Carolina came out to the searches. So I was very grateful for that first search. When I first went there, the first thing I did on that first initial search that I had, my goal was to get to that well site. I needed to get to that well site. I needed to see this well site for myself. I needed to see where the story made sense, where this guy said that my son was staring off into the desert, and things like that. I had to go stand in different spots at that well site once I got there to try to see what my son was seeing. And that's when I first got my first indication that something didn't seem right, because of the vegetation that was very high in that area, because it's so close to the Wagner Wash. It gets, whenever the rainy season come in, do get a lot of water there that time of the year. So I'm sure that's the reason why some of that brush is a lot higher. And there was no place to look. So I was thinking in my head at the time, where would my son be looking off in the desert when there's only thing you can see is the mountain peaks, because you can see the white tank mountains from that area, but you will not be able to look out into the desert because the terrain was really high. As you know, guys, if you look at that well site now, of course, that's been cleared out a lot more. But back then, when it first happened, it was a lot of brush closer to that well site itself, and there was no way you could just be staring off into the desert. So that was one of the first indications to make me think that something was wrong. I started to say, hey, no, I need to look into everything a little bit more, not just take something the police department went and asked a worker from Weber to what happened to my son that day. He was the last person that saw my son, and just take a word of a person without asking questions, without vetting the story, without even tracing the story. And so I had to do it myself and start doing things like that. Try to figure out this whole scenario, what happened to my son. I had to be open-minded. Of course, I am a bias because that's my son. I do definitely love my son, and I have to be biased in some aspects, but I also have to be open-minded, as well as I have to use logic and common sense. And so when I have done that so far, there's a lot of things that's very disturbing about my son's case. The most disturbing part is the efforts. And I feel like the efforts and the stride that the police department was going to try to paint my son out as some type of villain, somebody with some kind of mental issues, to point that he did this to himself. This was the type of thing that something he wanted to do himself, but was not actually taking his case seriously. To the point when his vehicle showed up here at that scene there, their whole narratives was two things. They say the good part is he was not injured, but at the same breath, they could say they believe he had a head injury that caused him to shred his clothes. To me, I had a brain injury myself from out there in Afghanistan, and they call it an injury. So you cannot say that he didn't get hurt, but at the same time saying he had a brain injury, had a head injury, and that caused him to shred his clothes off, and that's his clothes out there. So when I started hearing things like that it made sense. It made me very suspicious to the story that's coming out of the police department itself. So I had to ask for a second opinion. That's when I hired my own private investigator, who was also an ethnic reconstructionist. And from that point on, that's when all the evidence you guys hear about that's there that suggests, and it does suggest foul play. You could even look at the scene that's right here behind me, and that suggests that something's nefarious possibly happened. But when you add in the red transfer paint to the impressions on the windshield, where something beat the windshield in, to the point that only one glass broken out in the vehicle, that's the driver's door, no glass in the vehicle, as well as the staging of a hard hat with water, filled with water with a business card in it that's not dissolvable, and some other little things that you guys know about the extra 11 additional miles on the vehicle, the fact that the rancher said the vehicle wasn't there for 2 to 3 days prior, as well as the Buckeye Police Department themselves. Their searchers didn't produce the vehicle here in this area, though they went in this area twice. According to them, searching that area, and the vehicle wasn't there. So then at the same time, they're saying doing everything they can to make the vehicle there. And so when I started hearing that kind of stuff, and the fact that they told me they had no more leads to follow, meaning that they have nothing else to look at. When I saw so many things as a father that I was looking into to try to find out what happened to my son, they told me they had no more leads to follow. They put on their Facebook page, and also told the media, the local media here. They since deleted that. And also once I got my investigator on, they also told him, of course, that they were doing an investigation. But before he came on, like I said, that lead me to definitely get investigated. The fact that the vehicle was found on the 19th, that the rancher told me, they told him not to alert the family, don't alert the media, that the vehicle was found. They waited over 24 hours to tell me that the vehicle found. Though they know I was out there in the desert every week with volunteers, even on the weekdays, searching for my son, they decided they were not going to tell me that my son's vehicle was found out there. They removed it from the scene before they told me about it. And then from that point on, when they asked them a question why they didn't tell me, The answer was because they didn't want to disturb my sleep. So, you know, that kind of stuff like that made me very suspicious of the department, as well as the fact that, you know, the narrative was there about the young lady, to you to name it. People uploading their own text messages to their report. All that kind of stuff made me get my own investigator. I had to get that done. And like I said, with all the evidence that we have, guys, there's nothing that tell me that something possibly that's point towards foul play. And I'm still fighting for this department, or not this department, because like I said, told you guys before, I don't want Buckeye handling my son's case. They already did enough damage. I really believe that the Tempe Police Department should have gotten in the first part of that, and I really wish that would have happened at the beginning, because my son is a resident of Tempe. He left Tempe to go to work, and so, you know, those responsibilities there. I really wish that somehow, some way, that my son's case been handled different. And like I said, I did get my private investigator, get the answers that I really need about what happened to the vehicle, all the damages and stuff don't match terrain to you name it. That would suggest some things, but I just need a really serious department to look into my son's disappearance and look at those evidence. Look at the fact that my search had produced human remains in the same area the vehicle was found, as well as a human skull that was very close to that area that the Buckeye Police Department say they searched and did not find the skull with cadaver dogs, plural, and search dogs that they say they had. So definitely here today on the Q&A to address a lot of stuff. You guys have answer questions, especially those who never been in the Q&A before, have these questions. That's what the Q&A is for. I set it up so I can answer questions, so people can ask me direct, because a lot of things out there. I even heard when I first came out here that I'm an agent for the government. My son is not real. I'm not really a father. I think they said it had something to do with coronavirus. This guy have a whole YouTube channel out there discussing with paperwork. Watch my head. He's taking my videos, interviews, and slow it down and say my head moved to the side or something. That's giving me. I'm giving signals to. And this guy's making money. So those YouTube channels, they make money for things like that. But there's a lot of information out there that's like not true and things like that. So I kind of make sure that they have an avenue with people to come to ask me some things direct. I don't know all the answers. And some of the answers I do know, some things I cannot talk about because I have my own investigation, and some things I do know that definitely I can't tip my hand or talk about. Some things that I do know about my son's case. So the things y'all hear me say over and over again is the things I can share with the public, the things I can share with you all. And there's definitely you guys who haven't known anything about my son's case. You want to answer questions. Some of y'all might hear the same old thing over and over again, but that's what the channel is all about. It's about my son's case. It's about sharing his case and getting his story out there. That's the reason I started it, because once my son's case did go national, but like I said, the news media kind of kills that story out the wild because they look for something new. And so it's my job as a father to make sure my son's story stay alive and to stay out there as much as possible. As you know, you guys, y'all need to check into Dateline coming out next week, an interview I've been doing with them. Been working with them. They had put the trailer out today. So y'all guys can look at the episode. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. I think my teammate can tell me the name of it like, off the top of my head, but I think it's called Missing in America from Dateline. And they will be having an episode, a 30-minute episode about Daniel's case. So I want you guys to check that out when it come out next week. On the first part of the week, I believe it's Monday or Tuesday next week. And you guys check that out and, you know, and hear Daniel's story, especially those who don't have answers to, you know, some questions you might have that I may not have provided here, or you didn't get a chance to ask those questions. But I will get to the comment section. When I get to the comment section, you guys, if you please put a question marks there before your question, or the word question, or big capital letter Q there before your question, and I can get to those. But I can tell you also on the bottom of the screen here, I'm going to put this up here, is the days was fast and prayer for Daniel. What I do is do a fast and prayer near the 23rd of each month. Because you know, hey, I'm asking God for answers. I'm asking for direction and things like that. I start off the fast and prayer on Wednesdays on the like I said, that Wednesday before near the 23rd. I started off with a prayer like I did this morning, asking God, you know, making intercessions for other families as well as for my son. And so I asked you guys to join in prayer with me because, like I told you, I came in this evening to close off the fast and prayer for the day. That don't mean you have to actually stop, but I'll do my Q&A at 5:30, and I go on from that point until I end it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this prayer now. We're gonna end the fast and prayer for Daniel. If you guys can share that hashtag as well, we're gonna end it there. But I'm gonna end it with a prayer, and then we'll go from that point over into the Q&A session. I will be coming down the comment section there and answer some of your questions. Okay, Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day again. We come to you and we thank you, Lord. We give you thanksgiving and praise. We thank you because your name is great among the earth. We thank you, God, for blessing us another day to come together and join together in unity and strength, Lord, asking and petitioning you, Lord, to give us guidance. Give me guidance, Lord. I've been here in Arizona for an entire year fighting for my son. And I ask you, Heavenly Father, to please bless me to be able to see where I need to see things I need to see, hear the things I need to hear, as well as find the things I need to find to bring my son back home. You know, touch the person's heart that may know something and reluctant to say anything, that they may open their hearts and their mind and put this first before even themselves and do the right thing and bring some closures and some answers back to my family and myself. And Lord, Heavenly Father, we are also praying for other families that's out there who have missing loved ones that may be in the comment section as well, have missing loved ones, and look for the same guidance. You can do that for them as well. Give them answers and make those people who know something say something as well. We come together, Lord, because we have some things in common. And those who don't have a missing person have empathy and show love, and they do everything they can to support. I ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless them as well. They have their needs and their desires. And God, I'm asking you, Heavenly Father, God of heaven, please, Lord, bless them as well. Bless everybody who hear my voice at this moment. Bless them accordingly. We thank you in Jesus' name, pray. Amen. All right. Thank you guys for that. Again, what I'm doing now is ending the fast and prayer for Daniel. And we'll be doing it again. Well, I hope I don't have to do it again. If, God bless that I can get those answers I'm needing to bring Daniel back home. And, but as it stands, the fast and prayer for Daniel for today will be ending right now. Unless you guys want to keep going, like I said, I'll leave that on to yourself, between you and God. But thank you so much for joining in with me, those who have been doing it with me today. Like I really believe every time fast and prayer, my team and I were talking about that, something happened, something breakthrough happened. Whether there's some more media coverage that would get Daniel's story out there, father, to funding, to you name it, all kind of things that happens to keep my efforts for Daniel keep going, keep me here in Arizona and everything, So the biggest ultimate thing I'm looking for is to bring Daniel home. The ultimate thing is to bring some closure to for me and my family, and also to be able to help these other families. So definitely also pray for the foundation that we're working on as well, to be able to help other families. So again, I want to put this up here as well, a day of remembrance, talking about that, helping other families. It's being rescheduled for those who was asking about that. Yeah, definitely, some people didn't know we had rescheduled it, and that was because of the Roe versus Roe v. Wade, I guess how you say Wade, a decision from the Supreme Court causes major protests, and it happened to be on the weekend that we were doing the a day of remembrance, and so definitely have that rescheduled. And I think the team, and I know they're thinking right now, I supposed to have made a phone call today so I can go ahead and give y'all the date today, but I will be putting that up back on here, so you guys look at the website and look up the website on tomorrow and see what that date would be for like I said, the day of remembrance. So, but just kind of take my memory today for something I had supposed to do today, but I know they're going to say something to me as soon as I get to Q&A. But thank you so much, guys, for the support on that. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe button here. And so definitely need you to do that because to keep the algorithms going. You guys got this channel up to over 1,000 subscribers, and that comes with a lot of benefits. So we're getting Daniel's story out there a lot. So continue to get people to join in. If you're going to come in just one time, you just came in just to peek your head, hit that like, share, subscribe button, and that definitely would help. Before you leave. So definitely appreciate you coming in and doing that. But again, for those, I'm gonna leave that the lineman's tip line there. That's gonna always be there. You can text the word tip to that number. You can utilize that number to get your tips over the tip that's going to actually bring Daniel home. I do have a lot of people say I got some tips. I think you need to go check this part of the White Tank Mountains, or you need to go. That's not what the tip line is for. If you guys want to do that, I do have the number that you guys can give me tips like that kind of tips. And that number is right here on the bottom. Hold a second here. NIP numbers right here on the bottom here, as well as the email address that you guys can give that type of tip to. You say, hey, I think you need to go check the behind the grocery store or something, that type of deal, because blah, 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 so on and so on, unless you know specifically that's where Daniel, if it's like your opinion, something you think about that I should do, to please just utilize what you see on the bottom of the screen and reserve that anonymous tip line for those who actually had some involvement with my son's disappearance, or know direct what happened to my son, and want to share that. So definitely need you guys to separate that. It'll make it a lot easier, because I get a lot of stuff like that on the tip line, and we had to sort through that stuff, and it's kind of hard to determine what is really going to bring Daniel back home versus something, a suggestion in a sense. So, all right, thank you, Gina, for being here this evening on this Q&A. I really appreciate you coming out as well, and helping in everything you do. So thank you so much again for that. Thank you, D-Love, for being here this evening as well. Thank you, Aaron, again, for being here this evening. If you guys have any questions, please put that question mark there, followed by your question, or the word question, or the capital letter Q. That definitely help as I'm coming down. T and Wildflower, thank you so much again. Ashes to Ashes, D-Love, thank you for being here. Thank you, Mar, for being here. I really appreciate you guys for being here. So definitely so much taking your time to come out. Thank you guys, everybody. Pete Can Pie, thanks so much for being here as well. I really thank you so much for coming up. Theseus, thank you so much. Kata Pia, thanks so Kata for being here. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it, D-Love, as well. If you guys have any questions, I am coming down to the comment section really quick here. I do have one from Sarah. You guys can do something like what Sarah had done here, some question marks there, or maybe even the capital letter Q or the word question. But your question here, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on through the Facebook. Where were you able to reach out to Sean King? That's exciting about the Dateline. No, I was not able to speak out to Sean King just yet. But thank you so much for that. And thank you for that reminder, actually, for Sean King. But no, I wasn't able to contact him yet. And thank you also for the well wishes on the Dateline, because that Dateline deal, yeah, they finally decided to bring that episode out. They've been working on that for a while. I think it was taped sometime the last part of last year, or probably the early part of the year. But that again, thank you, Sarah. But that episode is called Missing in America from Dateline, and you guys can go check that out next week. And also, there's also an episode out there with Peacock, I think it was one of those networks, as well as Daniel's story is out there as well. So there's some areas there that's still pulling Daniel's story and helping Daniel's story out there. So it's been very helpful in my efforts to get Daniel's story out with the flyer distributions and everything else. So I thank you so much. And thank you, Ashes, for being here as well on this Q&A. And let's see who else I got here. Lola, thank you so much, Lola, for being here. If you guys have any questions, again, I see John Q. Thank you so much, Mr. Q, for being here, coming out as well. Take your time to come out to the Q&A as well. Haven't seen you out in a while. It was good talking to you earlier today, but thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. And then, guys, I think some of the comments not showing up here on this StreamYard that I normally have. But I do try to get to every one of them that I can. So you guys, if I miss your questions, please put the questions back up there again. I will be coming down there looking for on the comment section, the ones that do show up on my comment section here. So please do that as well. Leslie B, thank you for being here. But I don't see any more questions here, or that's something that didn't populate just yet. So I would go back and talk about some of these banners that I have. You guys heard it before. The tip line, like I said, you guys can, that is for that person who knows something. That anonymous tip line, that's also just a regular tip line, but you guys can also stay anonymous 24 hours, 7 days a week. As you know, live operators that will take your call, as well as you can text the word tip to that number if you don't want to talk to anybody and still can remain anonymous. So that is definitely for those persons who know something. I definitely want you to be able to reach out and help. So you guys also, if you want to help and you live in another city outside of Arizona, you want to be here, or even live in Arizona, a different part, you say, man, I wish I could help Mr. Robinson, help the team, you can volunteer in other ways. There's other volunteer in other ways tab on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com that you can go to and fill out your skill sets there. You guys can do that as well, as there's also a PDF for flyer distribution. If you guys want flyers, if you can't get them, don't want to mail out to you, or if you just want to make them yourself and things like that, you want to volunteer and help that way, there's a PDF there for you to be able to do that, to print those flyers out and have them distributed yourself in your hometown. I'm trying to get every city there is. Some people say, why would you want to get flyers out into New Mexico or something, or in Florida? Is because, I don't know, that person that may have seen something, heard something, may have moved to Florida that day or live in Florida now, and they need to hear that story. And as well, it also helps with, support and things like that I need here in my fight for Daniel. So you guys, if you get that story out there, everybody need to know. That's the reason why it's important for a story when it goes national, for that story get far as it can, because information and also communication is very key to anything that you do. I've been in the military, and that's, I know, communication for us was the biggest part of any kind of mission that we do, because you got to have communication first. All right. So, and I just want to tell you all, thank you so much for coming out to this Q&A. Thank you for supporting everything I'm doing here. You guys have been, everything I'm doing is because you guys have been here. So thank you so much for doing that. I mean, I couldn't do anything without you. Like I said, I'm a father, so I'm going to fight, and I'm going to try my best, and I will. I will. I'll do whatever I got to do. But like I said, we need people. So thank you so much when you guys do that. Definitely need people to help. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward to that when you guys help in all kind of way, whether that's you guys come and say hello, Mr. Robinson, to you name it. It helps every time when I do have you guys come in and show you support. So that helped me, keep myself going and keep my wheels rolling and stuff like that. So thanks so much. I do have a question here, I believe, on right here. I believe there's a question here. Any estimate of forensic costs? No. That's one of the hardest things to do as well, is just getting some type. I have a ballpark idea, based on everything I've listened to what people say. But no, one of the biggest things, I can't do a lot of that myself, like actually go to a lab and do it myself. It had to be done through my private investigator or attorney or something like that. Most of these labs, or a lot of the labs, only let you do it that way. It's where they go straight through law enforcement. So, but yeah, just have the estimate cost, but no, not, pretty much a ballpark figure. You can say estimate cost. Yes, I do. And so that's the reason I ask you guys, you can help me in every way I can to be able to do that. But one other thing I do want to mention, like I did earlier today, there are some justices out there that Nancy Grace people offered me some free forensics work. I can't tell you I did reach back out to them just in case, but that was never no suggestions, or nobody ever came to me and offered anything like that. Some people took the interview that I've done and I guess listened to it differently from where I listened to. I listened to it again, and I didn't hear any suggestions of they will be reaching out to me or wanted to do free forensic work for me. They just asked what can they do type deal. But I can't tell you how interviews work. I just, like we guys listened to that episode. That was my first time as well listening to that episode, so I didn't get any insights from behind the scenes. Where, like I say, I'm just sitting on the panel when she was doing that whole show. I was actually sitting on the panel the whole time. We having this long discussion, and then that ended up coming up in the discussion. No, it wasn't that way. Interviews are done a little different, so some people may not understand how that works. A lot of times you do interviews with networks, period, and they can talk to you for 30 minutes, asking you questions. You answer these questions and stuff like that, and then they don't take 30 minutes of your questions. They'll take about 5 minutes of your questions. They'll take out what they want to, little parts of what you say, and then use it in a long finished piece they put together. So when they put those things together, that's what their conversation was. I wasn't part of those conversations at the end of that piece. And so I didn't hear those things until you guys heard those things. And like I said, when I listened to it, I didn't hear any, and nobody actually came to me either of suggestions of somebody doing forensic work for free, because then that's what I'm saying. One thing is too, if somebody did offer forensic work for free, for instance, first of all, that person had to be vetted out. I'm not just going to say, yeah, come get my son's things. It's not going to work that way either. So it definitely had to find out who this person is and how it's going to benefit my family when they go ahead and do that process. So it's a lot of that too, as well as not just say, hey, I'm just turning over my son's things to somebody because they came on a Twitter feed or something and say, hey, I want to do your forensics work for free. It don't work that way. So you guys, so I do, like I said, didn't have nobody actually reach out to me in any kind of proper way or at all, suggesting that they want to do some forensic work for free. So I just want to make sure that's clear. I had to do it this morning so you guys can know, because I've been hearing a lot of stuff coming to me from off of Twitter and things like that. So, all right. Thank you again, Sophia, for putting that out as well. Volunteer on the Ways tab, if you guys can hit that up, and please sign that form there. That really help. Also, I have a question here from D Love, Mr. Robinson. If you can share, have you been able to get assistance from a local tribe? Well, I have connections to some of the tribal communities, based on some friendships that I have as well, some connections I have. So I have connections, but no, I didn't get any assistance outside of some technologies that is being used to help locate Daniel. There's a lot of things going in the backgrounds you guys don't get to hear about, but there's some technologies being used as well, coming from that side, the tribal side, where I'm out searching for Daniel other ways too as well. I really not sure if I can mention those type of systems that being used right now, but I can tell you there's other things that's being done as well. If Daniel's out there somewhere, and we can help track his location. So definitely, I've been working with some of the tribal people in the community to try to help find Daniel as well. But as in direct assistance from a local tribe itself, like direct, like for instance, like I'll try to give you an example, not too direct other than the person that I know who's part of that tribal community. I just put it that way. So, all right, thanks so much for your question. And there you go again. Thank you, Mr. Q. I really appreciate talking to you as well today. It was really good catching up with you. So thanks so much for coming in this evening as well. I think you had one comment I saw on the other screen where you said that you enjoy your meal while you're listening in. So enjoy your meal. I really appreciate you guys, you everybody on your team who's been working out there and helping me in the past as well, and give me some information that I needed to go forward with some of my investigation. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm really grateful for you doing that. Also, I keep always forgetting about this as well. You can donate to the GoFundMe here. Thanks, Sophia, for putting that up and reminding me. You can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and hit the donate tab, as well as this is the link here for donations. I'm really trying to reach that goal. Again, I'm not going to wait and say somebody's going to do forensics work for free for me or whatever, if they are with and not. So I'm really trying to do my best to collect those fundings I can, because trying to function and do everything that I'm doing right now from day one. I've been doing things from day one. I have, like I told you guys again, I'm not here on a joy trip or anything like that. I'm actually working, trying to find my son. So I'm doing all kind of other things, moving and constantly doing things to find Daniel. And so I need all the help I can. And one of those things that's hindering me right now, and I'm doing some things in the background to see if I can get in other law enforcement agencies to do those forensic work. But like I said, I'm not waiting on people to make moves, so I had to do things myself. And one of those things is, try to get the funding for that. What I'm saying, it is going to be costly and things like that. So definitely that, as well as I still need to remain here with my boots on the ground, as well as I have some areas that I would love to be able to go back out and search again, some areas that need to be searched and for various reasons. So all the stuff that I'm doing from day one, it is costly. And I definitely trying to do everything I can, trying to budget and do everything I can to remain here in Arizona, as well as being a good fight for my son. So you guys can definitely help. I really appreciate it. I see a question here, I believe. Oh, well, that's for John Q. Thank you, Mr. Q, for your support of Mr. Rob. Yes, I'm really grateful for him as well. He's been him and Q and everybody on his team has been really helpful as well. Really good friends. So thank you so much for coming in this evening. All right. Thank you also for coming in. I don't want to say your name incorrect. SGW Smiles. Thank you so much for being here this evening for this Q&A. I heard you say his phone was in his truck. Did his cell phone records show he never left the area after arriving to meet the worker? One of the things we don't have, Smiles, is the cell phone pings. Of course, like I told you guys, the first thing me and my daughter did is we went to work with the Buckeye Police Department. We went to go try to find all the information that we could do, not being law enforcement. And one of the biggest things when we did come to Buckeye, when they had us in the interrogation room, that is, we asked for those cell phone pings to my son's phone. We know that the cell phone was actually working in the desert because well, I'll say it like this. I don't believe it was the vehicle was there in the desert at the time. So wherever my son's vehicle was at the time, or wherever he was at the time, wherever his cell phone was at the time, it was definitely ringing. It was ringing and constantly ringing for almost a little over a full day before it finally started going to the voicemail. So there is evidence that there should be cell phone pings. And like I said, this department, according to them, they couldn't get cell phone pings because if they apply for a warrant, a judge would deny their warrant because it had to be a criminal case, is what they was telling me. So they didn't make my son a criminal case, so they said they couldn't do the cell phone pings. Now, that to me is some of the things that I really don't really understand that, because I do see a lot of cases out there where that's one of the first things they do is try to track the person's phone location and things like that to find out what's going on. So I'm almost certain it's been so long now that like I said, this department, in my opinion, they damaged a whole lot of my son's case from things like that, cell phone pings to the Uconnect information on that vehicle, and also any kind of video footage of my son ever. And I've been a little facetious. I say when they told me they couldn't get no footage of him leaving his house, coming to that job site at any kind of traffic stop on the highway or whatever. I said, well, show me any kind of video of him ever driving in Arizona, and they couldn't come up with one. They came up one picture, one video, or one picture. I don't think it was a video. One picture they showed us, and that's just got set out in the public of the back of his vehicle, what the vehicle looked like. That picture came from a camera in California somewhere. He was driving up to California, but in Arizona, my son, I guess, been riding around in a cloaked vehicle, like I like to say, because they didn't have that. So definitely, yeah, that's one of the things that we ask for, Smiles, is the definitely the cell phone pings. You know what I'm saying? Searching to that. But then also, since I couldn't get that, I went when the Buckeye Police returned that phone to me for safekeeping. You know, one thing that I noticed about that phone when it was given to me was that it was missing a memory card, as well as his whole Google search history, and as well as location stuff was wiped from the phone. It's wiped where I couldn't get the information that says where he was in those days and things like that. So all of those are suspicious acts. Those are things that suggest criminality. And yet the memory card, especially when he just got that, and certain things that's missing that deleted out the phone, those are criminal type deals going on, or suggest criminal activity. But that department refused to move it past anything. But Daniel just somehow missing, you know, on his own accord, decided to just walk off on his own, I guess, and join a monastery, become a monk, is what has been suggested. So so definitely on the cell phone, yes, that's one of the things we asked for, and we still haven't gotten. Tried to reach out to the phone company. Of course, they definitely wouldn't do it to me, and they do need a warrant type deal for that. So that's some things I couldn't get myself, or we couldn't get as a family. We do have phone records, though. That's the only thing we do have going for ourselves. 118,706 voices have signed a petition as of today. If you guys can continue to sign and put your voice to that petition. If you have multiple email addresses, you can do it multiple times. That would definitely help in everything I'm doing here. You guys are all you're doing the same when you put your voice there is that you agree what I'm doing here. You support me in what I'm doing here. And a lot of efforts at the time, it started off with the pressure to the Buckeye Police Department to do more. And I wanted them to do more, to the point where I started advocating for a change in the way police handle missing persons cases, to trying to get the FBI into my son's case. Now I'm asking them not to even handle my case at all. When I say not the FBI, I'm talking about the Buckeye Police Department. I don't want to handle my case at all. They did enough damage, in my opinion, on my son's case. And I'm telling you guys, I don't need them doing any more damage. I don't care what nice things they put in their report to suggest, try to pretend as if they did such a great job. I know what's happening on the ground. I know what's happening in my life. not one time in weeks would they ever call me and give me some type of update, because they don't have any updates. The only thing they're busy doing is putting things in a report for you guys, for your entertainment and things like that. So for me, I'm on the ground. I need some real actions. I need that type stuff, and they haven't gotten that. It's been over a year now, and they proved to me they weren't doing no actions, and they really, and the things they already had done, like I said, in my opinion, that damaged my son's case. I don't need that to continue on for another year. So I'm pushing everything I can, everything I got to get my son's case moved over to a different department. And your voice is there. It's going to come to a point where I'm going to have to demand in other ways my son's case to be removed. And I'm just waiting. I'm trying to be really patient here. And so I'm doing everything I can in the background. But after a while, I'm going to ask more of you guys to join me to do some things to get these departments to move. So definitely want you guys to be aware of that as well. That's coming really soon as well. So I'm making some decision on a lot of that kind of stuff. Also, don't forget, you can print the flyers out there. Like I said, that PDF there on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com under the flyer tab. Print the flyers, PDF tab. You can print those flyers, and if you want to be able to distribute them, as well as those who have asked for flyers, those flyers is coming to you. They already been put in the mail, so you guys look for those flyers coming as well. Don't forget to hit that like. Thank you, Gina, for putting that up there. Like, share, subscribe. Continue to get Daniel's story put out there. I really appreciate you putting that there. Definitely need this channel to keep going. This is a channel for the media. This is a media channel for Daniel story. This is his platform to keep his story alive. So definitely need to get as much people, reach out as much people I can in all different fronts, whether it's flyers, whether it's billboards, to this YouTube channel, to your voices. I mean, it all had to come from different directions to keep Daniel's story out there. So again, I'm coming down to the comment section, look for comments. For questions, actually. And if you guys have those questions, please put, like Seneca did here, put a capital letter Q before your question, or somehow the word question, or some question marks or something where I can find them as I come down. Thank you, Seneca, for being here this evening on the YouTube side. Beautiful family. I love your profile picture. Question is, where will there be any organized searches coming up? There will be. It's just that for right now, I just don't know, have a date, a set time, a date, only because, I'm trying to make sure, like I said, I'm doing a lot of budgeting and things like that to make sure I'll be able to get those searches rolling again. And I can easily say, hey, you guys, we're going to have a search out there tomorrow, or we have a search out there this Saturday, and I won't be able to have those certain things set that I really need to have out there for you guys, for your sake. I'm a very responsible person. Like I said, I'm not just going to go out there and say, hey, I'm just have people out here in the desert, walking out there in the desert without certain equipment, certain things, and safety mechanisms, as well as I need some equipment out there to do the search properly. So it costs time and things like that. So definitely when that time come up again, I will announce that. So I'm not giving up on searching those areas that need to be searched out there for my son. I'm putting a lot of focus right now on getting law enforcement from different department law enforcements to step in, as well as some other little things with the forensic work and stuff like that. It can lead me to areas that definitely need to be searched out there in the desert. So it won't be just by our grids. I do have a system that's really nice and really good. It's based on science, based on stuff that I know investigative wise. But if I can have somebody say, no, this is exactly where, if God forbid my son out there, but what I'm saying is, if it's something direct that's pointing at something direct to me, then I can actually go and look that area, instead of just kind of say, hey, well, we didn't search this area yet, so now we can search this area, that type deal. Because guys, if you say, hey, you've been searching all these weeks and you still have places to search, yes, that desert is huge. And I'm not searching the whole Sonoran Desert. All I'm doing is searching those areas that's reasonable to the story, what happened to my son. From one person's narrative, one person's story, is what the searches have been birthed. From the fact that this vehicle showed up and was planted there, and that's where these searches were based on, different things like that. So that's the reason why I'm out there in the desert. That's the last known place was given to me in my family. So those things have to be searched, as well as my hope and prayer that Daniel somehow escaped that desert. And that's why I'm out in the cities. That's why I'm passing these flyers out. That's why I'm on this Q&A. That's why I'm asking you guys to print these flyers. That's why you ask guys to have these flyers mailed out to you, whatever the case may be, so I can reach everywhere, so just in case. So, all right. I do have a question here from Loretta. Thanks, Loretta, for being here. Does Daniel have connections, friends in California? He do have one friend that I know of here, and that's, like I said, the worker who works with him from Matrix New World, Southwest Groundwater. But as in other friends, most of his friends, the guys, there's all college buddies, and a lot of them just live in different states and stuff like that. So they do used to go see each other and things like that. So from time to time, my son would travel to see some of his friends and vice versa. So yeah, he do have some friends different places, but not, as far as I know, not here in Arizona pretty much. So, but thank you so much for that question as well. Thank you, Barry, for being here and for the prayer for Daniel. Like I said, this is fast and prayer for Daniel Day. I did end it with a prayer, but like I said, for you guys who want to keep going, you can constantly do that as well. I need all the prayer I can get. My family need all the prayer they can get, and we know we're going to continue fighting for Daniel. I know I am. I do everything I can as a father to fight for my son. So definitely pray for his family as well, his mother, his siblings, his grandparents, as well as everybody in our family who's suffering for Daniel not being around us right now. So, all right, I do have a question from Kate. Did Daniel's phone still have had apps installed? Yes, some of them. Yes, some apps have GPS that can track your movements, locations, even if you're not using them, and without a memory card. It depends. You're right, and I don't know what those apps would be, but there were some that I was trying to look into. I did try to contact Instacart, because my son did Instacart as well. And, of course, I'm having a hard time. Those guys would definitely need some type of court order type deals to give me information. But I'm still pushing, still trying to push him, try to find out where he was doing that. That will help as well to kind of get information from them. I'm sure they do have tracking type deal for workers, people who bringing people's stuff with their name, utilizing their name. So definitely have to have some type of system like that would, track their workers. So, yep, hopefully we can get that. Maybe Buckeye or whoever needed to have done that, track those things that's in that phone. So, all right, question. Mr. Robinson, is there any footage of Daniel going in and being, is there any footage of Daniel going in and being in any stores he frequently went? I don't know. I don't know in the stores I was thinking about. Only other store that I thought was relevant, and I think the police department as well, is that that gas station that they keep talking about. And that's the only thing. Other than that, because like I said, there's nothing to suggest that he'd been anywhere else, not by his bank statements or anything like that. So the only thing I can think of is that gas station that we already know about. So no, I don't know any footage of things like that out there. So I'm not saying there's not, but I don't know any and any reason why I would look for footage at any stores, type stores, other than places that reasonable to his disappearance, in that area where he was last seen and stuff like that. So, all right. I think I ran out of questions here, and I want to thank you guys for coming into this Q&A. I do this every week. You guys can come back on next Wednesday as well to join the Q&A. I'm trying to see if you guys have any more questions and try to wait a little bit, but I want to, I have a question just pop up here. So thank you guys for asking these questions, and, definitely try to get the answers I can. Thank you, Ephesians, again for being here from Facebook side of things. Have you thought about hiring a computer geek to crack the apps open in his phone? Instacart and other apps could lead to something. And that's true, they can. And definitely, like I said again, I was trying myself to Instacart, but that phone has already been taken care of in some aspects. So hopefully I can get some answers back from things like that for Instacart and some of the things I couldn't do myself, to find some answers from that phone. And there's also a second cell phone, you guys got to remember. There's a second phone that was found near this crash site. So definitely want to make sure that you guys understand as well. That had to be checked as well. I don't know if having association with Daniel, but it just happened to be there where he's missing. All right, thank you so much. Also, I missed the question just now. Here you go, Dodge Fender. Thanks so much, Dog Defender, for being here with your question. The last time he worked for Instacart, do you know what market he was at? Even the day of two before, maybe he was with someone. Yes, I do. I do have that information. That's part of my investigation as well. I do have some information like that. And, because I was able to, before I had that phone sit somewhere, I was able to get some information from that phone because I was able to get in contact with some people with Google itself. And that also allowed me to get some information about some location and stuff like that. So I do have some information, limited information, but I have some information, indications of things I would like to tell you guys. But yes, I definitely have a lot of information with possible places that he'd been when he was actually working and things like that. So still not be able to put that out in the public just yet because I definitely want to get that to the right people. But definitely, yes, I have some of those informations about that. So thanks so much for that question as well. Thank you, Fisa, again. Did his job supply a phone? No, they did not. In fact, that's the reason why my son decided to do Instacart, because he have done a lot of stuff himself, you know what I'm saying, in terms of his job. He had to provide his own equipment and stuff, and use his own vehicle to get to these well site locations. That's why he was happy to get this Jeep. And it's like better for him and not travel stuff, something more reliable, that type deal. And no, he supplied a lot of stuff for himself. So no, cell phone is definitely something he supplied for himself as well. All right, question from D Love. Mr. Robinson, if you can answer, has NAACP reached out to help with media for Daniel? No, they have not reached out at all. I did see that some of the NAACP guys come in when I had a family press conference. Of course they came out, but I don't have any real contact with them on things like that. So no, nobody have from the NAACP reached out to me for media or anything like that, with media and things like that. So thanks so much for that question. Definitely reaching out to anybody I can. I can say when I first got here in Arizona, that's the first place that I ran to, is to try to see if I can get some assistance from the NAACP or anybody who can just get me started somewhere to search for my son. So I welcome anybody who can help as well. I do see a partial, I believe that's a question, Dog Defender. I'm not sure. I see a question mark in your question somewhere, I believe. Does anyone here know a computer guy who likes true crimes and justice may just help out to do good? Okay, that's for the chats. So thank you, Dodge Defender. But yes, I think I ran out of questions here again, you guys. Like I was saying earlier, I don't want to say that just yet, but I'm seeing the comments kind of move, and there's another question come before I finish. I will do that as well. But thank you guys for coming in. I do see a question from Dog Defender. Thanks so much. Thank you guys for coming in for the Q&A and ask these questions and stuff like that. I love to be able to answer some of those ones I can for you. All right, I do have a question here from Dog Defender. Can we reach out to them? I'm happy to if I can get a list from you. I will spend all day on the week all day on the phone if needed. And you say you want a list. I'm not sure the list you're speaking of, but yeah, if you guys can do anything, you guys want to help in a lot of ways, you can. It depends on what those helps are, as long as it's not something that's going to impede with investigational side of things. But I need a little more clarity on that, Dog Defender. If you want to reach me, you can use that information. Oh, you said you was talking about you want to reach out to the NAACP? Yes, you can. If you'd like to, I believe so. That's what you're asking for. Yes, definitely. If you'd like to, you can do that as well. I reached out to them before. I'm not sure exactly what they can do, but I definitely reached out to them before. And if you can, yes, definitely. By all means, you guys have something you think can help with that. That's really helpful. I really appreciate that as well. I hope there's some kind of way to help. I don't really understand the NAACP in terms of anything outside of I guess, injustice in terms of, somebody discriminating and things like that. I'm not sure what their function is. That's what I'm saying when it comes to other things. So, all right. And let me see here. I have, I think that's about it, you guys. Thank you so much. And it is, like I said, the 20th is the date that I was actually told a year ago that my son's vehicle was found by that rancher. And, that's the first date a year ago when I see my son's vehicle like this, not at the scene here, but it was in a compound, the police compound, when they turned it over to me. And it was a devastating thing to see. It was very hard for me to see it, and also to relate that back to his mother. It's like yesterday, and I really hate that image in my head, to seeing that for the first time. My son's vehicle should have been seen the way he wanted to show it to me. Like I said, I had plans to be here in July last year to see his vehicle for the first time, and I ended up seeing it like you guys see it back there. All right, I do have a question here, D-Love. Mr. Robinson, has any local churches offered to help? Yes, I have a church called the Kingdom. I did. They helped the bishop there, pastor there, helped as well. Reginald Steele is his name. Helped. He came out to help assist with the candlelight vigil, and as well as some other little things there. So I really appreciate him and his wife and his church family as well for their help. And also there's another church, and I hope my team can put that out as well, that help as well. So I do have some local churches too, of those that did help in their way, and I really appreciate them helping out. But I do have churches as well as back at home in South Carolina that help as well. So, there are some churches there that help in their own way, different various ways. And, I'm really happy that they did so, because we do need those backings from churches and things like that, especially with the day of the fast and prayer for Daniel. I had churches join in with their congregation to, fast and pray. So that's help as well. So definitely that. So not to take any kind of help that I can get, and not turn around any help that I can outside of, like I said, if somebody comes and say, hey, I want to do some free forensic work, like I told you earlier, of course, I'm just not going to say, hey, here it is, here, take it. It don't work that way. It's going to be a process and things like that. I have to vet. This is my son's case, and it just can't just go to people just because they want it. So definitely be working that way. But as in everything else, you guys helping with searches to, things like that. Definitely, really grateful for your help in the way that I can get it. So thanks so much. All right. I think this is it, everybody. I'll try to wait around a little bit more, but I definitely will be getting off of this Q&A. Like I said, I'll be back here next week. Definitely will be answering more questions. And so if you guys can, and I'm definitely going to put some information there this week, because I'm about the Day of Remembrance, as well as some things. There'll be some videos out during the week as well. Please go to Twitter. Please help find 4. It's not please help find Daniel. It's please help find 4, because Twitter limited the name. But please help find 4. And then you go to all the other social medias. Please help find Daniel, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, just definitely YouTube here. Please help find Daniel. And, please look at those, and I'll have some information there. Go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com as well to get the information about upcoming events, and as well as all the things I described here. So, all right, thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful night. I didn't see any more questions there. So I hope I'll talk to you next week, and you guys come back on and talk to you throughout the week as well. If you guys want those flyers, please reach out to us for those flyers. You want to print those flyers yourself, you got the PDF there. You want to contact me, the information is there. Please help find Daniel.com. All right, love you guys. Thanks so much.